to control weeds around organic farms and regular farms, silver banner grass is a real asset. Any farmer that doesn't plant it around their field will struggle to control weeds. I was in Somalia as an agronomist with World Vision for a term, and I worked with the farmers there, and what the Somali farmers taught me was if you control your weeds around your fields, around your road frontage and your line fence, and continue to weed for 7 years, in 7 years time there will never be any more weeds. The weeds will be wiped right out. And with silver banner grass doesn't set seed and can't stand tillage. And you can see along the road here we've planted silver banner grass, and it's wiped out all the weeds. There used to be thistle and sow thistle and twitch. It was just loaded with weeds, and they're all virtually wiped out now. There's a few spots it hasn't filled in yet, but once it fills in, the silver banner grass will have wiped out everything. It even controls or stops phragmites from spreading as long as you surround it with the silver banner grass, and it's well established. But what the Somali farmers do the same thing, only they just obliterate all weeds around their property. And so I believe the same thing can happen here. In 7 years' time, if you're diligent, after the silver banner grass is established, all the weeds can be obliterated. Now, a silver banner grass, you plant it every 10 feet. You plant an 8-inch clump, 6 inches deep, a clump that's 8 inches by 6 inches in size, and you plant it every 10 feet. And in 10 years' time, it'll totally fill in, and there'll be no more weeds left along the road frontage and along your line fences. And this is where most of the weeds come from. But the silver banner grass doesn't set seed, and it can't stand tillage. So it is not a weed problem. It's not an invasive species. Actually, it's a crop. It's a biomass crop they use to produce straw from, and they burn it in greenhouses to heat greenhouses. It's actually quite a crop. The place where you want to plant it is northern United States and Canada. Southern United States, the season might be too long, and it might set seed in the southern United States. But in northern United States and Canada, the season's too short for it to set seed. And it can't stand tillage, and it can't stand mowing, and it can't stand grazing. So it's an amazing plant, but it obliterates every weed. Like, it wipes out every weed. So the phragmites, it doesn't, as far as I can see, it doesn't wipe it out. We have a test plot that we're watching, and it is holding its own against phragmites. But at this point, it hasn't wiped out phragmites, but the phragmites can't penetrate the clump. We have other test plots we have established, and we're just watching them. It takes a few years for the silver banner grass to spread. Our home farm bordered on a neighbor's farm who has had silver banner grass there, which is also called Miscanthus Sacchariflorus. He's had it beside his field for over 40 years. Russell Schmidt had the farm first, and it's in Rattsburg, Ontario, on Earth Street, Waterloo, across from Roth Electric. That's where the farm is. And so Russell had it there before the next owner bought it, which was another Schmidt that bought the farm. But I talked to the dairy farm that owns it now, and he says it's never gone on the field. Silver banner grass has never gone on the field in all the years he's owned the farm. And so I believe it's a really, really, really effective weapon for the organic farmers to use to prevent weeds from going on the field. Anyone that's organic farming or going to go organic farm, definitely plant the silver banner grass. Every 10 feet, 8-inch clump, and in 10 years' time it'll fill in. If you don't, you're just fighting yourself. I was raised in an organic farm. I know what it's like to weed 100 acres, to go in and pick weeds in 100 acres. I've done it with my family. It is brutal. You don't need to do that. If you plant the silver banner grass, let it get established after 10 years. You can plant along the road frontage. In the bottom of the ditch, it likes to have lots of moisture. Now, it doesn't want to have continuous moisture. If there's water sitting in the ditch all the time, plant it a little further up, higher in the ditch. But it does like a lot of moisture. And once it's established, it will spread into the dry areas and wipe out all the weeds. But if you plant it, let it get established. After 10 years' time, it should fill in 10, 12 years time, it probably should fill in. And then spray your field before going organic. Spray it. You may have to spray it for several years in a row. According to some it takes 7 years. But at least a few years spray and just pound the weeds out. Get rid of the twitch, which is just a nasty one, the crabgrass. And then organic farm. Your life's too short to be just picking weeds like for days on end. That's just wrong. You don't want to do that. Well, and it's a beautiful plant as well. Even if you don't want to get rid of the weeds along your line fence or your road frontage, it's a beautiful plant. It's planted in front of restaurants and commercial buildings and public buildings. You will see it everywhere. It's quite common. So if you like what you hear, please encourage you to hit like and subscribe. And I hope this helps as far as getting a strategy of how to weed control. This works. It's just I'm 99.99% sure that this is the best way to go for organic farming and for any other farm. There's no other way. Just to, why spend money on herbicide if you're going to just do conventional farming? You could cut your herbicide costs like massively by doing this. It only takes 2 days to plant along the road frontage, along your line fences. And the line fences, you can just get rid of them and just till up to your neighbor's field. And as long as your neighbor keeps his fields clean, you're laughing. I mean, it's just a nightmare otherwise, just trying to struggle, just doing picking weeds. It's just brutal. Best time to plant silver banner grass is December to March. It doesn't like to be planted in the spring unless you keep it in a cooler. OMAF from Ontario, Ministry of Agricultural and Food, they keep it in the cooler, and then they plant 2 to 3 inch lengths of the root into the field. They have a special seeder, and so that's what I learned from them, that you have to plant it when it's cold. So what I found is December to March. I'm tending more towards February, March is the best time to plant, but it's hard to say. Just there has to be more research done on it. Thank you for watching, and appreciate your time.